Today we're continuing on with our best practice series, and today we're on number 5. And this best practice is how successful leaders multitask. Multitasking is something that a lot of people talk about. It's kind of a buzzword. But the reality of it is successful leaders, they simply don't multitask. They learn that it's not effective and they just don't do it. Steve Easel said it really simply. He said, multitasking is merely the opportunity to mess up on more than one thing at a time. Well, we don't want to mess up on anything, but much less mess up on multiple things at a given time. So to explain this, let me tell you a little exercise that I do with a lot of my clients. I'll give them a piece of paper and I'll say, okay, for 30 seconds, I want you to write down A1, B2, C3, and explain to them that what I'm going to do is they're going to write down alternating. One letter, one number, and corresponding numbers. After 30 seconds, most of them get somewhere around N and 14. So they've written 14 letters, 14 numbers. But many of them have also had mistakes. They're missing a letter, they're missing a number, they end up with N and 13 or M and 14. Now this is a very simple assignment. I mean, this is letters and numbers that we learned in kindergarten. We learned our alphabet, one of the first things we learned. But there still will be mistakes, and they're getting, like I said, 28 letters or numbers written down. So then what I do is I have them redo it. Only the second time, what I do is have them write like they normally would, and write the alphabet A to Z. When they're done, start with numbers, go 1 to 26. If they get to 26, then they repeat it and start with the alphabet again until 30 seconds are up. So what's your guess as far as what the results usually are? The reality of it is that most everybody will get through the alphabet and will get through all 26 numbers. And often I have people that start the alphabet again and will even get through the alphabet a second time if they're writing really fast and they're really on top of it. But also, they virtually never have errors. So in that same 30 seconds, they've done more and they've had less errors. If you don't believe me, try it. Try it for yourself. Time yourself for 30 seconds and do it each way and see what your results are. So the question is, why is this the result? It's because of the way our brains are wired. Language is in one part of our brain. Math and numbers are in another part of our brain. So we have to alternate our focus. We are having to switch areas of our brain, turn on, if you will, different areas of our brain. In fact, psychologists have found that we really don't multitask. We can't multitask. We're not wired that way. Our brains can only focus on one thing at a time. So when we're trying to multitask, what we're actually doing is what's called switch tasking. We're switching from one thing to another and back. In the case of the alphabet and the numbers, we're switching from the part of the brain where the language is to the part that has numbers and back. And we're changing the focus from one thing to another and back in sometimes nanoseconds, very quickly. But still, it slows us down and it increases errors. To be a successful leader, we have to learn that we have to focus on one thing, make sure it's done well and timely, and not multitask. An example, have you ever been typing an email and you get a phone call and you're talking on the phone, sometimes you're even continuing to try to finish the email before you forget what you're doing, or you hang up from the phone call, go back to the email and finish the email. They've done studies when we're switching like that and getting interrupted like that. Spelling errors, grammatical errors are 3 to 4 times higher in that situation over just being able to focus on an email or a phone call or whatever it is. That's why a leader has to really learn how to focus and protect their time. So a good way to remember this best practice and to remember to focus and not multitask is with an acronym, which is simply FOCUS, which I say stands for follow one course until success. Once you've had success on that item, then switch to your next task and work on it. In the next video, I'll talk about some easy methods to help you avoid multitasking, to focus, and to still work effectively. But until next time, best success.